The rise and fall of TomTom. My name is James Beckman. I wanted to start out by giving TomTom's vision and mission statement, and this is pulled from their 2007 annual report. Their vision statement: to equip every vehicle with a TomTom product or service because this improves people's daily lives. To lead the satellite navigation market with products and services that enhance the navigation experience of everyone who uses them. And their mission statement: to provide the best navigation experience and to make this accessible to everyone. TomTom solutions are designed to be easy to use, innovative, safe, and of good value, while offering a seamless integration of services and real-time static content and technology. TomTom didn't start off as the navigation company that we recognize it as today. In 1991, when the founders came together, they were actually a company that was tasked with creating applications for businesses to read barcodes and meters. This business model lasted from 1991 to 1996. And it was in 1996 when the company decided to shift its focus to the consumer market. TomTom at this time attempted to create some software that was involved with navigation, such as En route, City Planner, Route Planner, and they had some success with this. Up until 2002, when TomTom released the first navigation device, the TomTom Navigator. The TomTom Navigator was an accurate tool powered by Windows, which was important because before 2002, most navigation devices were accurate only up to about 100 meters. So this is where TomTom found a huge amount of success, and it laid the groundwork for the company and set the market standard. After the release of the TomTom Navigator, the company, like I said, found a lot of success. And new editions of the TomTom Navigator was released in 2003 and 2004. But in 2004, TomTom released the TomTom Go, and it was an immediate hit. And this propelled the company to great new heights and financial gains in 2005. This quote is by one of the founders, and this can be found in TomTom's 2005 annual report. The year 2005 was, by all standards, a phenomenal year for TomTom. We sold over 2 million units of our products and generated $720 million worth of revenue, close to quadrupling the previous year's revenue. So TomTom found a huge amount of success with the TomTom Go, and at this time was a staple in the navigation, portable device industry. In 2007 and 2008, TomTom was really at the height of its success. I mean, it was on top of the world. It was a globally recognized company, and it had really taken the world by storm with its innovative GPS systems. It had just experienced a 27% increase in revenue from 2006, and all this was great. I mean, it was on top of the world. It was the most success that it had had. But unfortunately for TomTom, 2007 was the release of the first iPhone, and the smartphone changed the way consumers use technology. Smartphones began to include navigation technology into their devices, and you could get those devices for free. Google Maps offered free navigation systems for Android users, as an example. And because of all this, TomTom stock began to plummet. So after 2008, when TomTom stock began to plummet, they realized that they needed to do something in order to survive. And what they decided to do was partner with a lot of big companies. And I think this was a great move on TomTom's part. For instance, TomTom and Nike paired together to develop a new device for athletes, such as the TomTom Sports Watch, and that hit the consumer market. That was great. TomTom also had partnerships with Ford Motor Company, General Motors, BMW, among other car companies, so they could power the vehicle's navigation system that came with the vehicle. But the biggest one, in my opinion, in 2012, TomTom made a partnership with Apple. It signed a global agreement that allowed TomTom to power Apple's navigation technology, its app. And that was big for TomTom because the smartphone had really changed the way people use technology. And when that happened, when the smartphone hit, TomTom suffered. And in 2012, when they paired up with Apple, it really got TomTom some skin in the smartphone industry. It really helped them get into that industry, and I think that move really saved them more than any other one, because the smartphone played a huge role in them kind of losing power. That it was great for them to partner with Apple to get some of that back. TomTom recognized that the consumer products such as the Navigator and the Go, they weren't selling like they used to. So when they partnered with these companies, all of them really, but especially Apple, it helped them, to remain relevant in navigation. In my opinion, the future is very bright for TomTom. Right now, TomTom is putting a lot of focus in autonomous driving or self-driving vehicles. And I have two quotes here by two of the founders of TomTom. First one: "They will have a massive impact on the way we live. At present, our cars aren't used very much in the day. Maybe when they can drive themselves, it'll be more efficient and there'll be fewer cars on the road." Now, the great opportunity for TomTom, I'll talk about this on another slide, but the great opportunity is, in order for a car to be able to drive itself, it'll have to be able to continuously update, because there's always road work, there's always detours, speed limits are always changing. So that presents a great opportunity for TomTom to partner with other companies to develop this kind of technology, where a self-driving vehicle's navigation system will constantly update, and when there is a change in the road, the car is updated immediately, and the driver, the person in the car, is not kind of one step behind. This will help keep the car up to date and moving forward. So the second quote is kind of about that. "We are partnering with technology companies to position TomTom as a leading technology supplier for the future of driving." In 2016, we partnered with a company to develop artificial intelligence to create a cloud-to-car mapping system for self-driving cars. And that's what that's talking about, is developing that technology. And I think that is a huge opportunity for TomTom and the company, and that is why I think their future is extremely bright. My SWOT analysis of TomTom, starting with strengths. Since 2007 or 8, when the iPhone or smartphone was introduced, TomTom has struggled. But it has showed that in order to survive, sometimes you have to partner, you have to grow. And I think TomTom is a great example of a company doing that. They've made some great strategic partnerships, and they've done a lot of innovating. That way they're not left behind in 2007 and 8. They weren't left behind there. They've been able to move forward in the future, and they may not be the first name we think of when it comes to navigation anymore, but they're still a huge success and a huge power in navigation. Now, their partnerships with companies such as Nike, Ford, General Motors, and Apple, that was a great move on their part, and that was a strength, being able to recognize as a company that they had to do something like partner with these companies in order to stay relevant. So I think that's a big strength that they have, and obviously they have superior navigation technology. I mean, they've been in the navigation business since 1996 essentially, so they have more navigation experience than any other company, and that's why they're a leader in bringing the self-driving car uh, dream closer to a reality. So these are definitely strengths for the company. So some weaknesses that TomTom has, in my opinion, um, outside of putting a lot of focus in self-driving vehicles and their partnerships with other companies like Apple, TomTom is a very small market. There's not many people buying navigation devices specifically. There are some, but it's not in high demand in North America. Uh, and their stock has slowly plummeted since the introduction of the smartphone, because now all smartphones come equipped with a free navigation device. Some of it is already powered by TomTom, such as Apple products, but a lot of smartphones use Google Maps, for instance, and those are free. So there's not a huge market for TomTom devices in 2017. And something that I also thought about, um, marketing is a weakness for TomTom. The company was great in the early 2000s up to 2007 and 8, and when you thought about navigation, you thought about TomTom. But now, since a smartphone, not many people realize that TomTom is still relevant. I don't believe. For instance, when I chose TomTom to do this project on, I had no idea that they still existed, because I use Google Maps and I had no clue. Um, so I don't think they have a very strong marketing department to get their name out there to say, hey, we're still here, we're still relevant. Look what we're doing. Look at how we're getting iPhone technology to your hand. Look how we're bringing the future of autonomous driving to the consumer market. So I think they could definitely step up their marketing department and really push that, because they could be a huge company once again in everybody's minds. But right now, when you think of navigation, you don't necessarily think of TomTom anymore. You think of maybe Google Maps, like I did. But I definitely think they need to step up their marketing department and really get their name out there. And another um, weakness, I suppose, is that they do rely heavily on other companies to incorporate them into their products, like Ford. They really rely heavily on Ford to offer vehicles with navigation and include TomTom as that navigation program. So they do rely heavily on other companies, and I do see that as it's a good thing that other companies do rely on them, but it's also kind of a weakness because they don't have a huge market of their own. Just people aren't buying the Navigators or the Goes anymore like they used to. So I think that's definitely a weakness. So opportunity. I've already hit on it a little bit, but TomTom has a huge opportunity in the self-driving car future. I mean, they've positioned themselves, and that's definitely a strength of theirs as well as positioning. But they've positioned themselves to be in the place where they are looked at as the leader in bringing this technology for navigation to a self-driving vehicle. I have two quotes here from the same article, Alex Davis's article, TomTom is alive and is getting into self-driving cars. One is by Alex Davis and one is by one of the founders. But TomTom has already made maps for Interstate 280 in California and A81 in Germany, and Bosch is using them to test autonomous highway driving technology. The company does not have any plans to build an autonomous vehicle for consumers, but like Delphi, it sees opportunity to provide the required hardware and software for automakers. So TomTom isn't necessarily trying to build a self-driving car, but they're trying to provide that technology, and they've already made a lot of progress. I mean, they've already got Interstate 280 in California and some interstates overseas. They've already got those mapped out. And as I mentioned before, a self-driving vehicle will need to be constantly updated to make changes for, the changes on the roadways. So TomTom is really pushing to get that technology first. And as one of their founders says here, you need a living map. One that is always being updated. TomTom is building a system with a sensor-equipped car, can compare what's on the map and what it sees on the road. Discrepancies will be reported, verified, and updated. Info distributed to every car on the road. And that's the goal, is to create this technology that is a living map. And every self-driving car will get this information and be able to adjust accordingly. And until that technology is created and is effective, we will not see any self-driving cars on the road hitting the consumer market. But TomTom has positioned themselves to make them the company that gives this technology and creates this technology, and that is a huge opportunity for TomTom. So some threats for TomTom that they need to be on the watch for, I suppose, is the same company really that kind of had a huge hand in them plummeting in 2008 was Google. Google was giving a free map app in smartphones in 2008, and they're still a huge competitor against TomTom in navigation today. Google's parent company, Alphabet Inc., has started a company which partners with Google and Google Maps called Waymo, and it has been working on a self-driving car, and has made great strides. And there's a lot of information out there about this self-driving car and how advanced it is. And the company has put several self-driving cars out on the street to test. A lot of it is, large city testing where there's a lot more frequent changes and stuff like that, and they've had some success with that. So TomTom's biggest threat now is the same one that they had in 2008. It's Google. Google's a powerhouse. And kind of going back to their marketing, TomTom has made it through some rough times, and they've survived because they've made partnerships with other companies and stuff like that. Like I mentioned, they're not that well known anymore. It's often forgotten, or it's not even recognized as a large company as it used to be. And Google, on the other hand, is a huge company. They're very diverse. And they have funding, a lot of funding. They don't have to worry necessarily about money, so they can put a lot of marketing and branding and focus on technology and innovation that could really push Google over to the finish line to give that the technology for the autonomous driving car, the self-driving car. They really have all the resources needed to give that technology that constantly updates the vehicle's navigation system. So I believe TomTom is still in the lead because they have so much experience doing navigation, but Google's on their heels, and if Google gets there first, even if TomTom creates something better, we're still going to recognize the name Google because it's Google. Whereas if TomTom gets there first, TomTom is going to get the credit, and I think TomTom needs to do that in order to kind of seal their future and seal their reputation. But that's definitely a threat that they need to be wary of and be cautious of. But all in all, I believe TomTom's future is very bright. I think the self-driving car is just around the corner, so to speak. It won't hit the consumer market for some time, I don't believe, but I think we're very close to it, and I think TomTom is definitely a leader in creating the technology that will make that happen, make that a reality. So TomTom's future is very bright. Thank you so much. Here's all the references to the photos and the quotes. Thank you so much.